Have you ever heard of the train wreck theory? It's defined by Urban Dictionary as a train wreck that you can't stop watching. You don't want to stare, but you just can't look away. Well, welcome to the train wreck. Hey there, Fishizens! Welcome back to Go Fishing Now, your #1 daily source on the internet for all fishing things. Today, we'll be telling you about the 5 craziest fishing injuries. Just a heads up, folks. Like Charlie Sheen in 2011, there are some serious train wrecks. But hey, we all love a good train wreck. Winning! Number 5. The old needlefish through the skull trick. Yep, you heard that right. The top spot on this list goes to an Indonesian teen who was stabbed in the neck by a fish. Yikes. Muhammad Idul explained how a needlefish pierced his neck with its bill and tossed him from his boat into the water. 16 at the time, Muhammad thought he'd just get in a little night fishing trip before finishing his home economics homework. After turning on a lamp, a needlefish leapt out of the water without warning and sliced into Muhammad's neck. Muhammad tumbled off his boat into the cold, dark water beneath. The fish's long, thin, and sharp jaws punctured through his neck from the bottom of his jaw to the base of his skull. Idul reported later that this fish was thrashing throughout the duration of the incident, frequently pulling the young boy under the water in its attempts to get away. Muhammad was eventually able to wrap his arms around the fish while his friend jumped into the water and attempted to pull the fish from his friend's neck to no avail. With the boat nowhere in sight at this point, the young boys somehow swam back to the shore with Muhammad holding the 3-foot-long fish in his arms, still stuck in his neck. They later found out that leaving the fish in place was the only thing that kept Muhammad from bleeding out in the water. When the boys finally made it back to Muhammad's house, his shocked father rushed him to the emergency room. Since there's no protocol, surgeons had to think quick and improvise in this bizarre situation. The chief of surgery at the hospital said he'd never seen any evidence of another case like this one, obviously, and it took 5 surgeons to successfully remove the fish. Muhammad made a full recovery and was able to go home after just 5 days in the hospital. You think he mounted the fish? I mean, it is a pretty big needlefish, and he earned it. Just saying. If you think that accident is unfortunate, stick around to number 1 to learn how a country music legend almost lost his larynx. Number 4. Bro, you got a hook in your face. Can you imagine getting hit so hard in the face by a fish that it does permanent damage? Unfortunately, Adam Reiser can. Reiser is an expert fisherman and enthusiastic kayaker. He has plenty of tournament trophies to prove it. While the probability of injury decreases with experience, it can never truly be zero. Reiser was coasting along a waterway with some friends and angling some laydowns. He felt a tug on his line and naturally set the hook. The fish flew into the air and smacked Reiser right in the face. Following the fish that bounced off his face and fell back into the water were several teeth and a lot of blood. As gory as it sounds, Reiser says he didn't feel much pain. He says he's actually just really grateful that the hook didn't hit his eye and now he can get those sweet veneers he's been wanting. Another angler didn't come out of his situation quite as well. In September 2019, 2 North Queensland mates set out for a day of fun-filled fishing that turned into a bloody hospital visit. While Brad Simmons and Kenny Mountford were fishing near Townsville, Kenny accidentally hooked a turtle. While attempting to pull it up to release it, the turtle instead managed to release itself, leaving the hook flying right into Brad's face. Kenny was all like, "Bro, you've got a hook in your freaking temple." And Brad was all like, "Dude, I think there's arteries in there." And Kenny was like, "Bro, we should get you to the hospital." And Brad was all like, "You're right, dude, but one more cast." At least I'm pretty sure that's how it went down. He was rushed to an emergency clinic where he had the hook surgically removed. But since both of these guys are real men and real fishermen, they were both out fishing the next day. Number 3. Zeus's Wrath. In an episode of the television program River Monsters, several men on Jeremy Wade's film crew were struck by lightning while out on the river. The sound recorder was wearing thick elastic-soled boots, but still sustained injuries, including losing the skin and hair on his face. Amazingly, he never lost consciousness. But when Wade asked him to rate the headache on a 1 to 10 pain scale, he said 3. No, just kidding. That was a 10. When fishing, sometimes your worst enemy can emerge from above instead of beneath the water. Going fishing during a thunderstorm is a gamble. In fact, getting struck by lightning during a storm is one of the most common causes of death along the Amazon River basin. Lightning typically hits the tallest thing in the region, and when you're in the middle of a river, that's you. As a public service, we're proud to bring you the Go Fishing Now Lightning Survival Guide. If you're on shore and hear thunder or see lightning, make sure to go to a dry place away from the water. Get off the shore and take cover in a structure if possible, or at least in your vehicle. In the case that you're adrift, head back to a building ashore ASAP. If it's impossible to return to shore, either remain as low as possible and retreat to the bottom part of the boat if possible. If you think getting struck by lightning would suck, just wait until you hear what our number one pick had to do to survive his injury. Just a warning, it involves silence. Number 2, battle with a sea monster. Humans rule the land, and sharks rule the ocean. So once we get the shark in our boat, he's on our turf, and we've got the upper hand, right? Not so fast. In 2018, the crew aboard the Dora D in Belfast hooked 2 blue sharks. After a mighty battle, they had both sharks aboard the boat, and celebration ensued before releasing the sharks back into the ocean. While removing a hook from the first shark, the second was left unattended. The 100-plus pound beast started flopping violently on the deck of the boat and managed to bite one of the crew in the arm, leaving a blood-gushing wound. The remainder of that day's fishing had to be canceled for a trip to the hospital to prevent exsanguination. We would all do well to remember this important lesson. Sharks' teeth still work when they're out of the water. While they are by far the most intimidating, sharks are not the only fish in the sea that can cause severe injury. A 40-year-old woman was going out to cool down at the beach in Costa Blanca when she let out a blood-curdling scream in the shallow knee-high water. At first, she thought she'd stepped on some broken glass, but something wasn't right. The pain began to intensify, so she headed to the emergency clinic. While this wasn't the work of our blue shark from Belfast, this was a bite from a bluefish. She had to get surgery for a torn ligament in her foot and received numerous stitches for other cuts. I'm pretty sure the moral of number 2 is that fish with blue in their name are up to no good. We've made our way to the number 1 pick. We've had some crazy injuries already. Tell us about your weird fishing injuries in the comments and let us know if we should make a part 2. Your fishing injury just might end up in one of our videos for all the world to hear about. Well, at least my mom and like 3 other people. Number 1. A potential career-ending injury. Once again, a celebrity makes it onto our list. Fishing not only requires strength, but also some steady sea legs. This was painfully true earlier this year for the American singer-songwriter Radney Foster. In February 2020, the country artist was fly fishing from his boat when he lost his balance and fell and hit his neck square on the gunnel. The fall resulted in a severe injury to his neck, most notably wounding his moneymaker, aka vocal cords. This potential career-ending accident caused the singer to be rushed to the nearest hospital to preserve his golden pipes. Fortunately, the Billboard Hot 100 country star would live to sing another day as his voice returned in all its glory after about a month of vocal rest. As a public service, we are proud to bring you this country music star guide to not falling on your neck. Be careful when you stand up on a boat. This advice also works for other genres of music, not just humans. There you have it, folks. Our top 5 craziest fishing injuries. Let us know if you liked the video and if we should do more like this one. And if those train wrecks weren't dark enough for you, go check out our deadliest fishing expeditions filled with swordfish impaling humans, polar bear attacks, and crab boat disasters. Make sure to subscribe and turn on that notification bell, or we'll hire Charlie Sheen to give a talk about winning at the next Go Fishing Now banquet. Actually, that sounds kind of fun. All right, I've got some phone calls to make. See you next time.